Welcome to the Mental Performance Playbook, brought to you by TAH, The Athlete's Health. My name is Gabe Rummel, founder of TAH, creator of this playbook, making top athlete habits accessible, building those mental exercises, creating them, crafting them so our student athletes can train and get to that level that they're wanting to be. A little bit of a different intro than the other episodes. We're riffing it off right now, but we're back in the home studio. Finally, traveling is done for about 3 weeks, 2 weeks, and then we'll be traveling a little bit more, but we're going to be pushing these out, revamping everything. It is going to be fun. Now, for this episode today, before we get into it, if you like this, if you find the show valuable, please share it. Send it to someone who should listen, watch, check it out. And while you're doing that, just go ahead, click that follow, subscribe, give it the 5 stars, whatever else is along the way. Now, I have been traveling a lot lately for TAH and then some personal family stuff. With that, I've done the gauntlet and I've talked to many different athletes in many different spots. But by doing the gauntlet, I mean, I have been sleeping at airports. I have been taking long shuttles. I have been traveling across states. It has been fun. I've started day jobs. I've kept working on other aspects of psychology and the day-to-day life. It is fun. It's a good time. With that, though, comes this one topic that we are covering today, where we are implementing from these top professional athletes and bringing it down to the level that we can go and do it and use it. And that episode, that topic is about this right here. And ideally, I purposefully did not skip over that pause, because what we are talking about is how we all know about the crowd noise. We know the loud music hyping us up. We know that heartbeat rate and it racing, and we can even feel it. But we don't always talk about the secret weapon that we are covering here today, of the other side of these noises, of this sound. And that is the silence, the calmness, the clarity. It's that lake in the early morning, like this morning right here, that has no ripples, that it looks like ice. And the silence is the secret weapon that we are going to be training here. So I broke this down into a few different ways. I have a few notes that I will be reading off as we get into this, but let's ride, rock, and roll, which is counterintuitive to the silence piece. But seriously, listen in on this, take some notes, or just go try and implement at least one thing, because it will make a difference in our student athletes' performances that they're doing on the field, on the court, in the pool, whatever's coming up this upcoming season. But like I already said, that loudness, that hype, everyone is already trying to make that happen, right? We don't need to work on that. The walkout songs, the getting up energy, the crowd hyping us up. We all know that that is a part of the game. That's a part of the sports, the athletics, the performances. We don't need to worry about that. People know that one. What we can be looking at and be training up more is the opposite piece of that. And that opposite piece is one of the points of performance that counts the most. Going quiet on the inside when the moments matter the most. Because the silentness, this is not just a passive byproduct of all the noise. It is a skill, it is a strength that we are training up, and we're going to take it the same as any other piece on here. So we have 4 or 3 different ways that we're going to do it. First off, we're going to talk about an X-Men movie. That is right, an X-Men movie. See, there's one where obviously Wolverine, they're trying to get someone. Boom, every X-Men movie, right then and there. That sums it up. But there's a character, he's playing video games in the basement. He's just dabbling around, messing around. And then they try and capture him. They need him. They need him to join the team. And when they try, all of a sudden, the X-Men producers, they slow everything down. They put some classical music in the background, and they show this character Quicksilver because he's got a blue silver tint and he's super quick. They show him running around everyone, but they play this classical music and he puts his goggles on and he's just able to run. It's almost a silent art is what we are seeing in that because everything slows down. And the reason I say this is because Quicksilver is not rushing, and that's not why he's fast. The character, he's fast because the time around him, and this is what they perceive, the time around him slows down. He's able to just move people's arms, move a bullet in the air. Everything else is slowing down in this perception. It's not that he's speeding up. We have the Quicksilver perspective. He is going the same pace. He's like walking around, but everything else is in slow motion. Every raindrop, every punch, it's all there for him. And this is the first secret in this silence, because in this silence, everything is going to slow down. And for our athletes, this can work the same exact way through the heart rate, through breathing, through the thoughts, this moment of the game. We can slow it all down intentionally from our perspective. And we really can, if we have not ever tried that, even as the parent or the coach watching this, put this in some type of practice, in some type of training plan. And at home, if you're the student athlete, try this out. This internal slow motion. When we work on this, it's gonna buy us that extra half second, right? I've been talking to a few different young quarterbacks in the Iowa area, across the state, starters. It's starters as youngins. And it's awesome because they are already telling me how, in certain ways, they're able to slow the game down. Everyone else is huffing and puffing. And for them, it's calm. See, that's the thing. We cannot slow the game down while we have 100 thoughts outside of with all that noise. We have to have some type of way to do it. So now that's knowing, okay, we are going to slow the game down from our perception rather than, okay, what does this mean? What is this silence? Because that's how we do it. In the silence, we slow the game down. All the noise can't always do it. We have to come to our internal silence. So, how do we do this? We use the second point of having our breath, which we have talked on here before, and don't get all hippy dippy on me. This is a performance point that helps us elevate and move to the next position, that next step on the pole, the totem pole that we want to get to. This breath is the on ramp to the silence. This breath helps us get. So we've covered many different ways on here, right? And whenever we work with teams or athletes, we'll tell them this, or even just our big workshops, we'll say, you've probably heard about that box breathing, right? Breathe in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, hold for 4. Sometimes we can do that. Other times, that's not going to work. If we're in cross country, it's going to be somewhat hard to do that because we're probably going to be huffing and puffing for a longer amount of time than that. So we have that box breathing. But another option is this triangle breath that I got from Brian Kane. So this is not one that we at TAH came up with our own. This is one I got from Brian Kane. Your nose and 2 corners of your mouth. How many points does a triangle have? 3. This is our triangle breath. So go out and do this. You focus on this triangle when you need that breath. And all of a sudden, because you're breathing right now, all of a sudden that breath comes to that focus point because you're focusing right here. If we need another quick way, find whatever part of the body that we are using in that sport. If we are a quarterback, we're probably wiping the hands on a towel. If we are in volleyball, maybe it's the knee pads. If it is a linebacker, it's probably, it could be the hands, it could be the arms, it could be the chest, the shoulders, tackling, you name it. Once again, endless options. Dive, maybe the fingertips. Pick one point and have one breath with it. And it can be in through the nose, out through the nose or mouth. It can be focusing on a tiny bit longer breath, but even just one calms us down. Breathing in a little faster gets us going. But this is like a switch. It's an on ramp. It's also like a switch. Switch off all the noise and get back to what we need to do to perform. And our last piece in here that I want to make sure that we understand in this silence and why we are using it to our performance here and why it is a secret and our secret weapon when our student athletes are playing is the topic of self-talk. Now, I don't always like to use this because people just think, okay, we're talking to ourselves or what is this? But the whole game, unless you're fully in the zone until something happens and we lose the zone, we're probably having some type of things that we're saying to ourselves. Even it's like, all right, let's get it. Let's go. Come on. Right. All of that is that self-talk, talking to self. So while we are saying silence, we need to understand that does not mean an empty head and an empty thought bucket. It means clearing out the outside noise so that right voice and what we are saying to ourselves, because that the voice is in our head, that is us. I mean, we might give it a different name, and sometimes that's some stuff that we train up, but that voice is still us. So, what is it going to be saying, and where are those thoughts and voices coming from? See, we can start training and honing this in once we understand, okay, slow it down in the silence. Okay, let's get into this position, into the silence. And now what do we need to do with how do we do it? So we can train these up as well. Whenever we work on our self-talk, we got to start small and expand it from there. Whether that is just a few words, keywords that we're going to use, or more specific performance cues, we can expand that out into a full paragraph that we are using before games, implementing some of those sentences in games. But that is a topic that we would go on in another episode. But I do want us to understand that in that silence, that self-talk. So just what is being said? Because there is also going to be noise and things said from the outside coming in. So in that silence, what are we going to filter in and filter out? And what are we actually going to be saying to ourselves? Training this up, the performance cues, whether it is one word, just a sentence, the whole paragraph, use that beforehand. We don't need that in the game usually, but the silence makes the room up here. So our self-talk, what we are saying to ourselves, fills it with either the performance and the get it going or that deflective doubt and the chatter that holds us back. And usually the latter, that doubt and chatter is what we default to. So we need to now know this so we can train it up. So let's wrap this up. Show the transformation for a few different sports. Any athlete, we can do any student athlete before the game. Before the game when the national anthem is on. Silence all around. It's just the national anthem. In that moment, locked in to the national anthem. Everything seems to be going slow. Other times, they might be a little bit thinking about the game right before the national anthem. Now they're thinking about, oh my gosh, what's going to be happening? Oh, I see these people or the scout in the crowd or whatever the case is. National anthem, calm down for a second, starts again, and we're like, okay, we're out there. Some people are going to be hearing all the noise inside their heads, that self-doubt. They don't know how to on-ramp into the silence. They don't know how to switch it, and they don't know how to actually slow the game down so they're moving the pieces and the pieces aren't moving them. Others, on the other hand, know right after that anthem, that's a cue for them. All right, we're getting into this. Whether that's stepping up to the line to go race, whether that's the first serve, whether that's the first dive, the first jump in the pool. Once endless options. I'm just trying to list off the fall sports here. Stepping into the grass for golf. What this does though is training this silence gives us 10 seconds of a difference for a whole hour, 2 hour, 20 minutes if it's a cross country meet, less than that for varsity. A whole performance difference just from this mode, this secret of silence and using it to our weapon because it's ultimately the same exact skill, the same exact sport that is happening, but What changes is the perspective, is the influence and the influx of sensory detail and the outcome of performance because of what we perceive and of what we let in and what we take control over. So as we sign on off here, think to be like Quicksilver, slow everything down, but do that by the on ramp. And as we do that, then we have to know what we're going to be saying and doing for ourselves because that silence can get dangerous. We didn't even cover that. That silence, well, yes, it can open up opportunities. It can also open up opportunities into the underworld. So we'll save that for a different episode. But once again, if you like this, please go implement at least some piece of this. Try and be like Quicksilver in your next practice, even in your driveway. Try an on ramp with so quick pits of breathing because you are going to be breathing. So just do one of the sensory pieces of focusing on the body part, anyways. And look at that self talk, understand what you are saying, and look at if you can think about the future or the current moment, but what it should be, how you can make that more of a productive thought than a chain holding you back. Try one of these out. Tell it to someone else. Tell it to someone else so they can try this. And then catch us next week on TAH, where we are putting out from TAH on the Mental Performance Playbook right here. Pretty soon, the backdrop is going to have a lot more pieces to it. It's going to be super exciting. And otherwise, get out there, crush the performances, and reach out with any questions. If you want any free mental training or actually the resources for it, check out the links below, and we will catch you next week. Peace.